Hey there folks, this is Kevin with Divinely Designed, and today I'm doing not a soap video, but a mold making video. And I wanted to make some molds so I can make some soap. So today we're going to be doing some food molds, and I'm gonna just sort of walk through step by step on how I would do it. So the first thing to do is you need to make a box or a container of some kind to keep the mold making material that you're going to pour into in. Now you can use a lot of different stuff. I like foam core because it's really easy to cut. So I have my cutting mat and a nice X-Acto blade, and I've taken some foam core and I've cut out a base piece, and then I cut sides, and then I've hot glued them together. Now the size of your base needs to be big enough to hold whatever it is you're going to be making a mold of. In this case, this one, I'm going to be making a mold of some lemon slices. So I have 11 of them, 11 lemon slices, and I laid them out so I know that this is big enough for them to fit into. I'm also going to be doing a strawberry mold, so you can see this one's already finished, this box. So I have my base, I have the sides that are tall enough to be a little bit taller than the tallest item that you're going to be pouring your mold making material in, because you want the mold making material to come up all the way to get the bottoms. Okay, so that's the strawberry one, and I thought I would just sort of show you how to finish this piece first. So I've cut the one side that fits in over here, and you want to try it. Now this doesn't need to be exact. You know, you're not building a house or anything. You just need something that's going to contain the mold making liquid well enough. So I have this piece of foam core and I have a hot glue gun, and I'm going to put some hot glue along the bottom here. And you have to work a little quickly with hot glue. You have a few seconds, but not real long. I'm going to slide it into the end piece, and then I'm going to press down nice and firm because I want that hot glue to make basically a liquid tight seal on my container. So if you can see, the hot glue is sort of squishing out between, and that's kind of what I want. Now, after you have the base in, what I like to do, especially for these corners, you can see the corner in here, the liquid, can flow out. So what I like to do is take my hot glue gun and go in the corner piece and put some hot glue in there. I actually do it on the back side as well because I don't want any liquid leaking out. And I'm going to do that on the other side as well. The great thing about hot glue is, you have a few seconds to work with it, but then it's dry in a matter of a minute. And the last thing I'm going to do is this edge right down here. Even though I pressed really hard to make a good solid seal, I'm going to put an extra bead of hot glue there to make sure, again, I want to make sure I'm not going to have any liquid leaking out of this mold making material. So you're using it just like caulk almost. Okay, so You can see, I don't know if you can see, let's see if I can get a... You can see hopefully along the edges is some hot glue. I've already done the other sides and created that nice tight seal. Now, you don't have to use foam core. You can use, I've seen other videos where they use glass as the base and then just put things up around the space. Glass will work just fine. I like the foam core because it's really easy. I can construct exactly the size that I want. Now, I have my lemons, and I'm very confident about the strawberries. They're going to come out great, I think. And because they're nice and dry. I cut them, I cut the ends off them, and then I put them on a paper towel so that the ends that go down on the bottom are nice and dry. And then what I did for the strawberries also is I just used some Vaseline and I put them on the flat bottoms of the strawberries and then pressed them down nice and firm. That's just to give sort of a watertight seal so that my liquid silicone isn't going to flow underneath the strawberries. I think that's going to work really well. I'm a little less confident about the lemons because this side is so, there's a lot of surface area to cover here first of all, and it's kind of bumpy. But I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take some Vaseline that I have, and I'm just going to kind of put it all over the bottom surface here. It doesn't need to be a ton. I just want to make a nice seal to the side that's going to go down against the foam core. I'm going to put that in place and give it a nice push down. Okay. Now, when you're putting your whatever it is you're making a mold of in, you want to leave a little space between the sides and the item itself, and then you want to leave about a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch space between the items itself, so that the silicone will flow in there, and you're not going to get holes between the cavities themselves. So I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to put the rest of my lemon slices down. I'm going to put some Vaseline on the bottom and then press them down nice and firmly. I'm going to stop the video, pause it, and then we'll come back when I'm all done. Okay, so stick around. Okay, folks, we're back. So I just did put all my lemons in here. Now I will also mention I've used this silicone before, and it's worked really well for raspberries, or blackberries is what I used. And I've used it for a bunch of other non-food items. It works really great. I'm not sure about the lemons. I mean, I know they're kind of acidic, but they're also very wet on the top. So we'll see. But I used real lemons, and I just cut them, and I kept them. Some of them are imperfect. Some of them have little seeds on them. I tried to get slices that look like a lemon. I mean, it has like a little bump on the end. And remember that this is actually the bottom of the mold. When you're all finished, you're going to take the mold out and flip it over. So for these lemons, you're going to get a textured, side and a textured top. But the actual cavity where you will pour the soap into will be flat and will have no texture whatsoever. So these are sort of two-sided. It's the same with the strawberries. The top where you're going to pour it in is actually on the bottom here now, right, where you just have a hole. And the cavities is where you will pour the soap into. Okay, so I have them all set to go. I already actually have some of my silicone mixed up here. I am using, let's see if I can get this up here. I know I'm going to need more, so I still have it open. I'm using Alumilite High Strength 3 mold making rubber. And you can see it's all just white in there. And then there is a high strength catalyst. And you can see it's nice pink. So what you do is you use 10 parts of the rubber to 1 part of the catalyst. So I have my scale here. I weighed out 500 grams of the rubber and then 50 grams of the catalyst. And I use just a solo cup, and it works well for 500 grams. I'm probably going to need more, so I just thought I would have this mixed up already and show you. Now I'm going to not pour onto a piece of fruit. I'm going to pour into here just so it hits the bottom, and then I'm just going to kind of just keep pouring and let it sort of flow where it needs to go. Now remember, you need to pour in enough to cover the tops of all of the things that you are making the mold for. Now, the pail that you saw is the 10-pound pail, which is the best deal, I think. You can get really small amounts of it, but like this is going to take quite a bit of it. So they have a 5-pound pail also, but it's a really good deal if you get the 10-pound pail. I think it was $165, and you can make some really good molds. You can make a whole bunch of molds with that much rubber. Okay, now this stuff, you have a lot of time to work with it, so it's very forgiving. When you mix it up, and I'm going to show you how to mix it up here in a second, I just wanted to get some of this just started. I figured I would show you kind of the pouring and the mixing all in one little video clip here. So we'll get to the mixing in just a second. But as you can see, it will sort of self-level. It will flow to every kind of nook and cranny that's available. And you have a lot of time to work with it. It doesn't, I think it'll finish curing in 18 hours, I think is the time frame. I tend to let mine sit for about 24, but I have unmolded it at 18, and it does fine. But you also have a lot of time. It's not like it's going to start to solidify on you and get chunky or anything like that. It stays very liquid. Okay, so now you can see it's sort of flowing where it needs to flow, and that's a good thing, as it'll sort of even out. You do want to try and control your pour so that you don't generate air bubbles. Now, once you have it here, and you're going to give it some taps. And I don't know if you can see on the surface, but there are some air bubbles that are sort of coming up. They will slowly creep up to the top and pop. But the least amount of bubbles you put in, the better, because then you will have nice, perfect molds. So that's why I tend to pour in just to one section and let it sort of flow out nicely so that you don't get lots of air bubbles in there. Now you can see I'm only about halfway to the top. So I'm going to just put this over here, and then we're going to go through measuring. All right, so I have my scale, and I'm going to put it on grams, and I'm going to zero out my cup. Okay, and now let me make sure I'm in the shot here. Oops, sorry. Okay, zero out the cup, and then I'm going to pour in another 500 grams of the rubber itself. that's okay. I'm going to fix that in a second here. Okay. All right. So this stuff isn't too hard to clean up. I mean, it's not sticky or anything. You can just use a rag to wipe it off, or a paper towel. So I'm going to take some out here. Okay. Okay, so we're at 500 grams of the rubber itself. I'm going to zero it out again. And then I want to put in 50 grams. Oh, I didn't zero it. Oh well, that's right. This scale irritates me sometimes. It's not the best scale in the world. But I have this down in my cleanup room and sort of my craft room. Okay, so, all right. So we're at 50 grams of catalyst. And when you mix this, now this is kind of full. I probably could use a bigger container. Okay. So you can see the catalyst is kind of just sitting on top. So you just want to mix this up. Now, again, you have a lot of time to work with this, so you don't need to feel rushed or anything. But while you're mixing it, you want to make sure that you have a nice uniform color eventually. So I'm just mixing the pink catalyst down into the white rubber material and just stirring. And you'll notice that your white material will start to turn pink, and you're finished mixing when you have no more pink streaks, and you have the bright pink, and you have an evenly colored rubber material that is sort of a pale pink color. So you want to make sure all of your catalyst gets mixed in nice and thoroughly. And again, you don't have to rush this. You have plenty of time to work with it. And it doesn't take real long at all anyway. You can see I'm being kind of careful, but this will probably only take a minute or two of mixing, maybe 3 minutes, until you get it to the point where you can sort of start mixing faster. And again, depending on your container that you're using, you know, this may be easier or harder, but this is a sort of tall, skinny one, and I like using it because once it's all mixed, it's easy to pour from. And these are disposable. I don't have to worry about cleaning up this material afterwards. But you do want to make sure, like I'm trying to get down nice and deep because I want to make sure I get the catalyst all throughout. You don't want to have any pieces of, parts of the rubber that don't have any catalyst in it, or else it won't turn into silicone. It won't turn solid. It'll stay sort of mushy and liquid. Okay. So you can see I still have some pink streaks in there, but it's getting easier to sort of mix, and I can sort of mix it faster now. Now, try and bring this a little bit closer. Hopefully you can see there are still like pink streaks in it, and they're subtle, but those are the things you want to make sure you're getting mixed in completely. It's almost like when you're mixing soap, right, and you've poured your lye in and you start mixing, and you have some of the oils that sort of float on the top until it gets all emulsified. It's sort of the same kind of look to it. You have these little pink streaks that are sort of all throughout it until it gets nice and incorporated. And you have a nice, evenly soft pink color without any streaks of pink in it. And again, I'm sort of scraping the sides, trying to get down to the bottom. think we're very close. We're almost there. Okay. This stuff is pretty thick. It's actually a little tiring on your hand to stir it. Alright, I'm just trying to make sure I'm scraping the sides. Making sure I get down all the way to the bottom of the cup. Okay. I think we're good. Alright, so let me see if I can get this a little closer. So now hopefully you can see there are no more streaks. It's just a solid, soft pink color. Alright, and let's finish pouring the strawberries. Now, I'm going to show you. So this has been sitting for just a couple of minutes. Okay, but you can see this is still very liquid, right? I mean, I can pour it up. It's still liquid, and it will stay that way for quite some time. So again, you have plenty of time to sort of play with this. Alright, now the other thing I found about this is it always seems to take like a lot more than you think it will. I'm probably going to have to mix more here because this doesn't look like it's going to finish it. Okay. All right. So you can see we're close, but I need to get the tops of the strawberries completely covered. This will probably come up right to the very top of my form here, but that's okay. I mean, I don't probably need a ton more, and then I'm going to start working on these. But the process is going to be the same. I'm going to mix them. Mix the rubber with the catalyst, stir until it's ready, and then pour it in until it's completely covered. And give it a good tap. Make sure we're trying to get the air bubbles out. I should also mention I'm doing 22 strawberries and I'm doing 11 lemon slices. And it is important that you think about the number of things that you want. I use the red silicone mold from Essential Depot to make my soap loaves. Oops, I have it right here. So I normally use this to soap with. This gives me 11 bars. So if I'm going to do things like, you know, let's say I'm going to do strawberries, and I'm going to do 2 strawberries per bar on the top as a decoration, I'm going to need 22 strawberries. So if I want to do embeds all at once, enough to do a loaf, I want 22 of them. In this case, when I do lemons, I think I'm only going to use 1. I actually am thinking of doing a like an iced tea themed soap, you know, one that looks like iced tea, but that's done with cold process. So I think I'm only going to use 1 lemon per slice, so I did 11. Now, if I needed 22, obviously I could just pour them, let them sit, and then redo it over and over. But think about the number of things you want to produce at one time when you're making your mold. So now, I probably could have done 11 and just gotten away with it, and it would have been fine. But again, when I'm thinking of when I'm going to do the bar, I thought I was going to do 2 strawberries at one time. So this will let me do that all at once. Okay. All right. So I'm going to finish these up. I'm not going to record that. But after the break should be when these are all finished curing. And I'm going to take them out of their boxes and show you. Okay. So stick around after the break. Okay, folks. Hey, here we are. With the mold that's all set. And this is probably kind of hard to see, but it's nice and glossy kind of on the top. It's firm. There's nothing sticky. And to remove it, I'm going to start in a corner. And let's see if I get a good shot of this. And I'm just going to kind of pull away. And I'm going to do that all around. Or all down at least one side, I guess, and kind of start to go down this other side here. And then, if I can, I'm going to try and lift up this one corner. Okay, see how I'm lifting up that one corner? And then just pull. Now you can also just take the box apart. But it comes apart, you know, it comes out pretty easy. Okay. So there we go. There's my strawberry molds. Now this is, I don't believe this silicone is food grade safe. So I wouldn't recommend eating these strawberries now, but if you just pull it out, and there's a perfect strawberry cavity. And you'll get little bits and pieces that will stick in there, especially for the strawberries. They kind of have those little hairs in them, and they get stuck in the silicone. When I did this with the blackberries, the same thing happened. And the first time you use the mold, like for soap, it's actually a little harder to get the things out because I think some of those things are still sticking in there, or you might have like little pieces of silicone that get caught in the soap itself. So the more the second, third time that you use it, it'll get easier as some of those little things just sort of get stuck in, your first batches of soap. You just won't be able to clean them out all that well, but it'll continue to work. So, like you can see, that one got kind of messy. I'll try and wash that out, but these are coming out really easy. And then I'm just going to give this a wash, I think. Okay, most of them are coming out easy. The bigger strawberries come out a little bit easier. And I'm kind of just pushing from right below where the strawberry is, and then using my other fingers to sort of roll it out. It's very late in the season here in Philadelphia, so it's a good time to use strawberries. Not that these are bad strawberries. I had a couple. They're not bad, but they're not the height of summer gorgeous strawberries that you get. So, all right. So we have a little bit of cleanup. You can see there are some extra latex here. where it got underneath the strawberry, so I'll have to clean those up a little bit, but overall it came out pretty darn good. And I don't know if you can kind of see in there, it has all the really good detail of the strawberries. So I think that's going to make a great soap mold when I'm all said and done. Let's see about the lemons. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm just sort of pulling it away from the side. And then when I get a corner, I'm kind of just trying to pull that corner up. Okay. And really, once you get it started, it's pretty easy to get out. Now, this is foam core. Like I said, you can see the bottom's kind of coming up here. This is really cheap foam core. I got it at the dollar store. So, but it's fine. It's not going to hurt your mold. Okay. So, ooh, this is actually a little soft, which is interesting because I really did these at the same time. Not this part, but this part down here is a little bit soft. That's funny. And I wonder if it had to do with the citric acid. So, okay, just taking these out. They're looking pretty good, actually. I mean, it's nice little detail. I'm going to try, because they are soft, I think I might let them sit. This section down here, I might let it sit still. I've never had that happen where the silicone is still soft, but these are pretty thick molds. These are probably the thickest molds I've done. So, okay, I'm gonna, and it's weird that the top portion up here is all firm, and the bottom part is still kind of soft. Anyway, I'm gonna let it sit, and this one I can probably take out. I'm going to try and show you some of the detail, because I think I'm just going to let this sit for a little bit, but you can see there, I get nice detail. This mold making material really works pretty well for giving you nice detail. I'm just going to sort of squish these back in here, because it is a little bit moist yet, and I'm wondering maybe this section didn't get mixed. Or maybe there was a patch in there that I didn't have the catalyst mixed really well in. So we'll see. But I'm going to let it sit and rest for another couple of hours. And that's it. That's making the molds. I'm going to be using these in a couple different soaps, but there'll be different videos. And check those out. Okay, comments, questions, leave them below. If you like it, subscribe. This is Kevin with Divinely Designed, and thanks for watching. Hey folks, this is Kevin with Divinely Designed, and we have a soap video. So this soap is a strawberry themed soap. I'm going to do, I think, a drop swirl with a couple of different colors. I'm going to do some piping on top, but I also have my strawberries that I made from my strawberry mold. So I made these with real strawberries and some mold making rubber. So I have a whole bunch of those over here to go as embeds on the top. This is my normal recipe, so let me just go over it in terms of percentages. I have a total of 50 ounces of oil, and the breakout is 33% olive oil pomace, 21% coconut oil, 16.6% cocoa butter, 16.6% shea butter, and 12.5% castor oil. I have a total of, sorry, I put my paper away here. For my lye water, I have a total of 730 grams of a 26.36% lye solution, which is my normal recipe. Into that, I'm going to be adding some fragrance. I have from Nature's Garden strawberry preserves. Now this discolors to a reddish brown. So for my colors, I do have some white. This is just titanium dioxide from brambleberry mixed in some water. I'm gonna not put the fragrance into the white portion just so I can keep that white. But for the base of the soap, I'm gonna use a combination of cherry and raspberry from Celestial Colors. And some accents, I'm going to be doing neon green and strong pink. These are from TKB Trading. And I think that's it. So my oils are at 75 degrees. My lye water is at 65 degrees, so I'm soaping pretty cold. I also have another little embed project I'm doing with some green, so I'm just gonna, that's why I have these here. I'm gonna take care of this first, but it's not part of this soap that I'm doing. So let me just make sure my colors are all opened here. Oh, and I do have a piping bag. I'm going to try and do some piping on the top. So I have it just in my container here. I'm using a pretty big tip. This is a number 6 B as in boy tip that I'm going to be using to do some of the piping. And I think we're good to go. All right. So here goes my lye water. We're going to give this a quick buzz. Okay. Since I kind of have a bunch of colors to work with and things to do, so I'm going to keep this fairly loose if I can. Okay. Let me pour off a bunch for white, and that won't get any fragrance. Okay. And then really quickly, I'm just going to do my other little separate project here. I have a little leaf mold that I'm and some Moroccan mint fragrance that I'm just going to mix up really quickly here. These are some embeds for a different project I'm doing, but I thought I would do them quickly. Sorry, I'll try to get this done quick here so I can get back to making the actual soap we're making. But if you watch my videos, these are some mint scented leaves that I'm going to be using in an upcoming soap. So I just poured off, you know, a little bit of my main batch here. This recipe normally does pretty well. It'll give you a few minutes to work with it and won't get too thick. So usually I have some time. So, okay, perfect. All right, so let me just move these off to the side. Okay, so I've poured off my white. I'm going to keep the majority of the base of the soap kind of that red cherry and raspberry. Going to do a little bit of accents in the neon green and a little in the strong pink. Okay. So, fragrance goes into the main base color, the green and the strong pink, but not into the whites. I'm going to add some white color here. Some raspberry and a little bit of cherry. The neon green, and I mixed that comes as a powder, and I mixed it in some oil from the recipe prior to getting started. Same with the strong pink, that comes as a powder, and I pre-mix that in some oil. And let's give these all a little buzz here. Okay, that's my white. Okay, that's mostly the raspberry color. I'm going to add a little bit more of the cherry. And like I said, this fragrance oil will discolor it a little bit to a more brownish color. So I'm not trying to go super deep with it. Okay. Alright, so that's my main base. Let's mix up the green. Okay. And finally, the strong pink. Okay. Alright, so we're going to do a drop swirl. So here's the main color, kind of that mix of cherry and raspberry from Celestial Colors. I'm going to add a little bit of white, not a ton, because I'm going to save some of the most of this for the piping on top. All right, here goes the green. Strong pink. Ooh. The strong pink has definitely thickened up. I'm going to use these other colors, which are sort of more loose, to sort of push that strong pink around a little bit. So I'm going to dump the rest of this in, since that seems to have thickened up much more than my other colors. Alright, let me see if I can use my green to push some of this down. My white has kind of thickened up also. Give that a little stir. I'm just giving it a little stir to try and loosen it up before I give it a pour here. Again, I'm not using a ton of white. Okay, I'm going to save the rest. Okay. Alright, we're just going to scrape the rest of the soap here on top. Okay, and just get the rest of the green out here. Okay. I'm going to give the top here a little bit of a swirl with oh, look at the mess I made here. With a chopstick, just to break it up a little bit so I don't have those big blobs. Okay. Little tap. All right, I'm going to put this aside for a second. Just clean up a few things here. All right. Now I have my piping bag. Let's see. Yeah, this is pretty close to being okay. I actually want this to thicken up, I think, maybe a little bit more. It's pretty thick right now, but if I piped it, I don't know that it would hold its shape real well. I mean, it's still kind of fluid. Just give it a little mix here. All right. I'm going to turn the camera off and give this just a few minutes to thicken up a little bit more, but we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. And that was maybe about 5 minutes, but it's thickened up nicely. This is a pretty good consistency to pipe. I could probably even let it set up a little bit more, but this is sort of, not really, but it's, I should say, if you watch videos, if you watch YouTube videos of soap, hopefully you have seen Royalty Soaps. She is awesome, and her soaps are awesome. But she always does these really kind of high tops. She does a lot of piping. I'm not really big into piping, but this is a little bit of an homage to her over at Royalty Soaps. She always makes such very pretty soaps. Okay. This is a nice big piping bag. Sometimes what I find is when you're piping, like for baking and stuff, if you end up with a really small bag, it kind of affects how you pipe. Okay, and the other thing I hopefully you can see is that there are black lines on my mold here. I'm using the Essential Depot red mold that has a wire cutter. So I've spaced out exactly where those will be, and I'm going to attempt to do kind of a little dollop. In each of the bars. This mold does 11 bars. Okay. And then I think on the side I'm going to do some smaller dollops. Okay, I have kind of a bunch of soap left, so I might try to fill in here. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to try and make my middle one's a little bit taller. Okay. And now for the strawberries. So I think I'm just going to put one on either side of the bigger dollop. Now some of these strawberries are pretty big, so I'm sure when I use the wire cutter, some of them will get chopped off, and that should be okay. Although I do want to push these down into the soap. So, you know, probably my other piping didn't really matter. Some of these I may have to cut myself because they're a little bit large. This one's very large, so let's see. This was a big strawberry. Okay. So some of these are going to have whole strawberries. Well, they'll probably, when I use the slicer, they'll probably have some of their sides cut off anyway. But these strawberries, and I think they'll look fine. Whoops. I do want the strawberries to face the same way, though. And put some whole ones in here. Okay. I think that'll be fine. Some of them will, like when I cut this, I'm sure like some of these up here are going to get their ends chopped off anyway. So this being the first time I did this, I think in the future what I would do is I would use all half strawberries in this kind of arrangement. But there we go. Okay. All right, so stick around after the break. Should be the unmolding and the cutting of this strawberry soap. Stick around. Hey there, soapy folks. Okay, this is Kevin with Divinely Designed, and we're going to do the unmolding and cutting of this strawberry soap. It's been almost 12 hours, a little less. So I use a lot of hard butters in my soap, and I just took this out of the fridge, so I have a feeling it's going to be a little hard to cut. I usually try to cut these a little sooner than 12 hours. Okay. I think that's about right. Now, I know some of the strawberries are going to have little slices cut off of them. But, you know, what can you do? Most of them look like they survived pretty well. Okay, it's pretty hard, but it cut okay. Okay, there we go. That came out really good. I think probably the pink and the green will change a little bit as they get exposed to the air. But I think this red is probably pretty close. We'll see. I think the pink and the green normally get a little brighter, but this fragrance oil does discolor a little bit, so we'll see. They may end up being pretty close to what we're seeing right here. And that came out really nice. I'm very happy with the swirls. The overall color scheme for the strawberry soap, I really like it. The white, the kind of combinations in reds and a little bit of green, you know, kind of suggest a strawberry. It smells really good. That looks good. Ooh, that side looks better. Okay. So, these came out pretty good. Need to clean them up just a little bit, but I'm pretty happy overall. I want a big bowl of strawberries now, though, because this smells so good. This is Strawberry Preserves fragrance oil from Nature's Garden, and it has a very strong strawberry smell, but it's also kind of sweet, and has a very, like, sugary note to it as well. So I kind of want like a piece of toast so I can just spread this on. This one didn't come out as well. The swirls aren't quite as pretty, but it's okay. I mean, the tops look pretty good. Okay, that's it. So, comments, questions, leave them below. If you like it, subscribe, and check back for more soap and bath and beauty related videos here at Divinely Designed. Thanks. Bye. Have a good day.